I want to bring in ABC News contributor and former NYPD chief of detectives, Robert Boyce, for more on this. Robert, you know, we heard that teacher, Arnold Reyes, describing what happened in the moments leading up to and after the gunman entered his classroom. He says he heard police nearby, then he heard a student from the classroom next door try to call for them, and he says the cops left, and that the gunman then went back into that neighboring classroom and fired more shots after already firing shots in his own classroom. Why would police leave the area in that situation?
Well, we don't have to wait for the final report to come out, Diane. I've looked at this time and time again. I see failures abound in this whole thing, critical failures that cost people their lives. And it really drives a lot of anger from me when I see this, because I've seen active shooter protocols go and heroism before the policing, and people, and also officers lost their lives. Critical mistake number one, those first two officers who were grazed, that breach should have continued at that point. It did not. Chief Arredondo pulled back and created a perimeter. That's not that's a violation of the protocol. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go in and neutralize the threat. So he's wrong right off the bat. And he has to answer for that. Why he hasn't, I can't tell you. Secondly, why was he in charge to begin with? He was the chief for 2 years, and he was in charge of 6 police officers. Why didn't Uvalde Police Department or the Sheriff's Department take command as the incident commander? So many mistakes here, and it didn't have to happen. I understand that man's grief, and you can really sympathize with him and his anger and his agony as well.
Now, Arnold Reyes is saying now that he felt abandoned by the police. He calls them cowards. He says, they had bulletproof vests. I had nothing. What's your reaction to that?
It's true. How can you argue with the man? He's 100% right. Those children didn't have vests. I don't want to hear threat levels. When you're in that situation, you have to go in. You took an oath, you go in, and you stop the threat, and you neutralize that individual. So he's right just right now. You know, there's a lot of saying, oh, wait, I'll hold judgment until I know more. I can't do this. I just see this, and I see this initial mistake creating this. And there was a lot of anger going on between the 14 different agencies, Diane, showed up. Why didn't someone take charge who actually knew what they were doing and knew about the protocols? And the protocols themselves has to be looked at from a statewide level. They have to train. We should have a national outreach on this to show them how to do this, because this failure can't happen again.
Now, as Pierre mentioned, it's now been 2 weeks, and that chief of police that you brought up, he still has not given a full briefing about what did or did not happen as these events unfolded. How significant is that?
It is. It does matter. But I think what we have now is you have a DA looking at this thing. So he has pulled back. He will not speak once criminal charges might be pending, and he's going to pull back. That's the point of that. That's what's going on there. But he should have made the statement long ago. We know what happened. It doesn't take doesn't take a police officer to figure out. He didn't go in when he should have. And that 9/11 tape is going to be very revealing. And I really don't want to hear he didn't have a radio. He had someone next to him with a radio. So that's a false alibi, if that's what that is.
Now, Reyes says that when police did come back, they tried to get the gunman to come out and talk, saying, you know, we don't want to hurt you, we just want to talk to you, that kind of thing. Is that an appropriate tactic at that point?
It really isn't. You have to look at your subject when you do hostage negotiation. And my team in the police, like the whole team in the police department, understands this well. Understand your subject. That person is a terrorist at this point. He's not a professional criminal. He's not going to talk his way out of something, or at least try. He is on a mission, and you have to deal with him in that respect. He's not your average fabricated person. He's someone different. He's more in line with the terrorists, and he's going to keep acting.
And Robert, I know you're waiting to obviously see the results of these numerous investigations, but based on what you know now, do you think that someone in law enforcement, or more than one person in law enforcement, should face consequences here?
Well, it starts with Arredondo. Whether that's a criminal act, that'll be determined by the district attorney's office. But additionally, the Texas Department of Safety, all these people, they should have ensured that these protocols were understood, and someone took over from Arredondo. Not just that he shouldn't be the lone culprit here, although his actions were clearly out of line. As I said, the Sheriff's Department, the Uvalde police, why didn't they take over? Board Attack came in and made their own move and said, we can't let this go on anymore, and they moved. So they seem to be the most reasonable out of the response teams that I can see right now, and they ended the threat. It's not only stopping him from shooting other people, but it's also rendering aid to those children and those teachers. That's also important when you consider these things.
All right, Robert Boyce, always great to have your analysis. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.